around the country. And I'm curious as to, and you mentioned activist judges. I'd like to get your take on what exactly an activist judge is and why we need to reform a system that's actually recognized around the country as something that everybody else should be looking at doing.
Well, I know that, I've heard that, but actually the system is already politicized a great deal. There's, the Bar Association has half the votes on judicial nominating commissions. And that is well known for its left-leaning influence. And then by the time you add in lay people appointed by the governor or different administrations, you have a left-leaning influence on the judicial nominating commissions, and I think that needs to be balanced out, and that's what we're looking at, is being able to balance that out, give Iowans a larger voice in the selection of those commissioners on those, serving on those boards.
What do you mean by balancing out? Balancing.
Yeah, well, having the people's representatives being able to appoint commissioners, that would be one way of balancing
But
that.
that's politicizing right there. It's political.
Right.
It's gonna be, it's a political process, no matter what you do. It is now, it's gonna be that, politics is gonna be involved, no matter what way you go.
I guess I'm Debbie Baker from Wakefield, but I guess I'm really passionate about the fact that the judicial system should be independent, and just as, it's a segue from this, but just that, that the judicial decision should never be based on what the people's opinions are, or, you know, it's not their job to do what people think. It's their job to interpret the Constitution, and their independence is very important. So getting the legislature involved in those selection decisions seems counter to making that body remain independent.
Well,
Does the governor appoint half of those?
governor appoints half, and the Bar Association appoints the other half.
That sounds balanced to me.
Just wait a minute, the Bar Association doesn't appoint them, they're voted by all of the
The
lawyers.
members.
Whether they're Republican or Democrats, they all get votes, and they don't do it as a partisan election. It's just names and peoples.
It's a word we're using, and I wish I could remember this because I spoke to the chief judge last week, but there is a difference between the Bar Association and the bar. So do we have any legal folks in here? that
Well,
can-
I'm 36 years on the Bar Association, and
So
I've
what's
never
the,
worked.
Bill, what's the difference, Bill, between Bar Association and the bar?
Well, if you're a bar member, you're not necessarily a member of the association. You have to join.
So is
We
it,
have a large percentage of the Iowa lawyers who belong to the bar because it's
Okay.
such a good value for them. And I've never seen it be left-leaning. In fact, I've seen it be fluctuate over the years. There's lawyers that are very conservative, there's lawyers that are very liberal, and there's a lot of people right in the middle.
yeah, and that's what I heard from my chief judge I spoke with, and so this is an interesting conversation because I think we should all find this out, but we're not going to find it out until we go farther into, you know, through a subcommittee or a committee meeting. I am one that believes on this issue that, you know, before you tear down a fence, let's figure out why it was built. So maybe it's not tearing down a fence, maybe it's moving the fence a little bit or opening a door in that fence, but I think we should have this discussion. I don't know that anything's solid in, that anything's gonna be changed, but there are people that feel there is an unfair or unjust way that some associations might pick them, whether they're right or wrong or not. I don't know, I'm still learning about this, but, you know, I go back to my simple language of, before we tear down the fence, let's figure out why it was built. So that might support the idea of, is it going all right the way it is right now? And for many of us, we're still trying to seek that information.
Several years ago, I was on the judge nominating. I found it very fair.
Sure.
It takes a lot of time because you have to interview all of those that apply.
Yep.
And then we spent a good solid day back with the committee, which was, I think it was half from the Bar Association, half citizens. And And we went through a lot of discussion, drilled through the different people that applied. So I didn't find it left-leaning at all. I found it very fair, and you know, we select 2 people to send to the governor, and they select that person. So I found it very fair. I did not find it left-leaning at all, so.
I still would like to hear your definition of an activist judge too.
Well, I would consider an activist judge one that goes beyond interpreting the Constitution or interpreting the law to making up their own law. And we've seen that happen in a number of occasions, so.
For example, can you just give us an example?
Yeah, on the decision this past summer, on the 72-hour waiting period, in the majority opinion, they found a fundamental right to abortion in the Iowa Constitution, and there isn't one in there. And that is a good example of making up law, when there is clearly one not there. And in the dissenting opinion, Justice Mansfield said that that they had gone beyond their authority and basically making it up out of thin air. She said in so many words. So that's an example I was talking about. Yes, Dennis.
I'm Dennis Epley, school board member from Waverly Shell Rock. And I don't know how long we're gonna run here, but before we do break up, I certainly want to thank both Sandy and Craig for serving